Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Yes, it's a parenting, maybe. I'm thinking maybe a parenting podcast. But let's just clear it. It's really comedy too, because when you have kids, you gotta laugh your ass off. Because let's just get real, we're all learning. Okay? So just remember that before we even start talking. So first we're going to talk about this fit this 12-year-old, maybe 12-year-old through in a store for a Pokemon. I got a little haters message over this, and sorry, but it's on TikTok. I'll share it on the Facebook page. Thank God you're not my child. This isn't acceptable. And I got haters because they said that, well, he's obviously autistic. Let me say that right. My words jumble sometimes, so just live with it. I didn't see that, but I also don't know him. So I apologize that she knew him, and I'm very sorry, but, I just saw fit. And the whole point is it's not my place to take care of that child. And his mom was doing the right thing. Looked like she was like, we out of this fucking store. You ain't getting nothing. So, is there judgment? Yes, there is some. Because thank God you're not my child. Because I don't want to have to deal with this. But the bottom line is, when they're doing it in public, we all deal with it. We all watch it. And this mom seemed to be doing everything she could. And if you were raised like I was, you knew you were going to be in trouble when you got home because you did that kind of shit. You knew it. You knew it was going to happen. And that's the whole point of it is, remember, what I talk about is the straight down the line bratty kids that need to learn. But even someone that has autism or is on the spectrum, they can learn. It's just going to be taking longer. And it's going to be different ways of teaching them. Everybody can learn. It's just how they learn. And that's how it comes in that you know your kid. So when I make these videos, it's, you know what? It's just to prove, thank God you're not my child. And that, everybody's human. It's just teaching them. But anyway, the haters were like all over me because, he's autistic. And I'm just here to say, I have taken care of autistic kids and kids on the spectrum, nonverbal kids in the hoe. And it was harder to teach them. And they still had their meltdowns because they do. But, every time they learned something, it was a step towards them living a better life, because you have to learn how to live life to live a life. So it's all about teaching them their way. But when grown ass women come at another woman, because this is how I feel, and I didn't say anything about whooping this kid, because obviously, first of all, it's not my child. Thank God you're not my child. And I don't think anybody should be whooping anybody else's child. But to come at me, first of all, I didn't say anything about whooping somebody. And even if he is autistic, this still isn't cool. You need to know your own kid, and let's begin teaching them. Begin teaching him, Mama. Mama's probably doing a great job. He's just having a bad moment. And it got caught on video. And that's another thing. Thank God, when I was a kid, things wasn't caught on video. Oh, Lord, have mercy if things have been caught on video. In high school, in high school, I really would have liked to have had this on video, really would. But I was no good at biology and science. I had to work my ass off to even pass I don't know if it was I wasn't good at it or I didn't want to be. Probably being a high school kid, I didn't want to be. But the teacher was kind of cool, so I tend to do a little better because she would talk to me the way I needed to be talked to. About boom, do this, boom, do that, boom, do that, because I wasn't a fast learner. But I did like her. But I was also in home ec, and we were learning to bake pies, and one of my favorite pies is coconut cream pie with the meringue and coconut everywhere. Yeah. Whew. That with a cold beer. Yeah, I think that might be dinner tonight. It could happen. Anyway, I was thinking about the coconut cream pie. So I thought it would be really cool that if we baked a frog that was going to get dissected into a cream pie and see if we could get her to take a bite of it. But I was willing to take a bite too, just know. And so we took it in and it was all cooked. Yes, we cooked the dead frog. Okay, let's clarify this. I cooked the dead frog in a coconut cream pie. And I offered it to her and had no clue that the principal would walk in at the moment. So it's after school. I'm standing in biology class with this beautiful, beautiful coconut cream pie I baked that I knew exactly where the frog was. And the principal said, that looks good. And she goes, oh, you can have some. She baked it for me. Yeah, I might have shit my pants right there. I mean, I didn't, but I could have. And I probably should have. But, you know, I'm not going to back down. I'm not a back down kind of person. I don't back down for even a principal. Yeah. So they wanted me to take the first bite, which kudos to that biology teacher and that principal to understand that I needed to take the fire spot. So I did. Took a bite. Well, guess what? Remember, I knew, I wasn't thinking about the stuff that could have been in the cream pie. I knew where the frog was. Let's just say nobody seen the frog was in there until the last one ate it. They all committed that it was almost perfect. There was a strange taste to it. And when they found out I put a dissected frog or a frog to be that we were going to dissect in the pie, there might have been a little bit of trouble coming. The consequences of my behavior was a whole week in a room with a window. And I got to sit in there and think about my actions and do my schoolwork. I was a sophomore in high school. Yeah. You know what? I can still laugh my ass off on that. Made the yearbook, baked a pie, went home ec and biology mixes. Yep. Yeah, that was a long week. I'm just going to tell you this. Now I'll admit it that holy hell, that was probably not the best thing I ever did because I spent a week in a room with just a bathroom on one side. I got to go in the bathroom alone. No door, there was a door there, but it was called SAC. And I sat in there alone in a chair. They brought lunch to me too. I didn't get to leave that room in there from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. doing my work. I had a little button if I had to push if I needed something. But the funny thing is, the window was, the SAC rooms were around the teacher's lobby, the little room that they go in to eat. So you were always being watched by somebody because somebody was always on break. And you know what? I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Maybe. When you have little kids, they need to do that, you know, so you're going to always, it's like having a camera in the room. We have cameras in the room. When I quit daycare, I had cameras in my room. So if I was cooking, I could see what every kid was doing. And I knew who did it. And if somebody did it and it was a line, I could go to the video and I could, it's no different. It's no different. Like I said, just thank God they didn't have videos when I was in high school. Although I'd love to see that pie and that happening right now. I wish I could remember their names. But it was in Spring Hill, Texas. Yeah. Was I a sophomore or a junior? Hell, I don't know. It was around there. I had 5 years of high school. That's a whole nother story. And they all blend together. They just all blend together. But, you know, that consequence, even now I can tell you, was for the fucking birds. But I earned it. I earned that week in SAC. You know, my parents didn't gripe either. They told me it was the stupidest thing I ever did and I need to pay the consequences. They didn't go to the school. They didn't go to the school and whine, oh my God, you're going to keep my baby away from her friends. They didn't do this. They backed that school up because that school said, oh no, this isn't acceptable. So there's nothing wrong with us doing that now. They didn't touch me. They just took away my social. I still had class. I still had food. I still had a bathroom. Had a water fountain in there, so I always had a drink. And do you know what? If you can't behave, that's a consequence. So, you know, same as all of those women coming for another woman that's just telling her opinion. You know what, girls? And I'm going to call you girls, because true women, they back up other women. Girls are Karens. Girls are haters. You can have your opinion, but telling somebody, I was told that I was ignorantly stupid. She didn't even really know me. She just seen videos on TikTok. TikTok's not real. Did you guys know that? Hey, did you know Facebook isn't real? Hey, did you know Instagram's kind of like a little fake too, that you only put on there what you want on there? Oh, Lord. So if you really want to know me, let's meet. Then you can tell me I'm ignorantly stupid. And I'm not even for sure those words should go together. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, it's been a good week. And did I mention that my podcast went international? Yeah, I did, didn't I? I need some more out there. You know? So far, this has been a blast. It only slightly brings out the girls, if you know what I mean. On to a reader story. I have a cousin, Laura, in Texas. This isn't her, but it's a Laura from Texas. Did that make sense? That made sense. Anyway, Laura said that she was in a store. And this little 4.5, 5-year-old, somewhere around there, started kicking the mom and stuff. And she noticed that the mom first turned around and said, "You will not kick me." Kudos, mama. Stern voice. And the girl kicked her again. And she pulled her up and swatted her 3 times on the butt to let her know that you will not kick your mother. And sure enough, out from the side, a lady came. "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just hit your child." Okay, first of all, thank God that's not your child. That's not your child, lady. And I'm not sure you really should be, that was an innocent whooping. And I know some haters are going to come to me, but your child kicks you, there needs to be consequences. And that mother felt like the consequences was, I'm going to pop you on the ass. She didn't beat her. Let's just clarify that. And Laura said that everything in her was like, don't get involved, don't get involved, don't get involved, don't get involved. And I think she put in that email, don't get involved, like 20 times. But she didn't listen to herself. And she went over to tell this young little girl that was pregnant that she didn't have a clue what was going on and that she needed to keep her head up her own ass. Okay. If we can get a round of applause for Laura, because Laura didn't know this lady either, but she saw nothing wrong. And you know what? That is not your child. That's the whole purpose of thank God you're not my child. Is you see it as, I'm thanking God they're not. But you know what? I've already done my time. Remember? My son will be 35 soon. My daughter's 30, and I've raised multiple kids through daycare. I've had my time. And Laura, kudos to you for taking up for that mama. It's very important that we have mama's backs. And when you see a mama doing her best, and she's not hurting her child, don't get involved. Don't get involved. That little girl came around the corner, and the only reason we knew she was a woman was because she was pregnant, because that little girl doesn't know how to keep her head in her own aisle. So, Laura, kudos to you. So, Laura from Texas, thank you for taking up for that mama that was giving her daughter consequences that were okay. That was her child. It's nobody's place to say. It's not a beating. Don't beat your kids. Totally different than a whooping. We can all agree on that. So, kudos. Kudos, Laura, in Texas. Not my cousin. But I think my cousin could have taken that little girl. Yeah, she could have. But this, yeah, okay, I think she could have. My cousin could have taken her. She's one badass bitch. She's a woman. She takes up for other women. Not a girl. So, Laura, hands off to you. You're my hero this week. Okay, so on to one of my daycare stories. Many, many years ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Anyway, okay, I just thought that was funny. To teach kids consequences of taking your toys out and not bringing them back in, I have a picture. I'm going to put it on my Facebook. Thank God you're not my child Facebook. And it kind of looks like a real baby doll in snow. But I took this picture because it's a plastic baby. It was able to be taken care of after I brought it in, but they left it out and it snowed on it. And so until all the snow was gone, I wouldn't let them bring it back in. And yes, I took a picture of it. And it was one of their favorite baby dolls, but they, these are 3 and 4-year-olds that know the rules. And somebody left their favorite baby doll outside and it snowed on it. So when they came back the next morning, they stood at the window going, "Oh, the baby's in the snow." And, I came over and looked out and went, "I'm so sorry." But it stayed out there till the snow was gone. And then when they came back, they took, I brought it in and they set it at the table and they made sure it was clean and didn't have water in it, because that was the consequence. That was the consequence of something so simple. I didn't put hands on anybody. Did they do without this favorite baby doll? Yeah. It was like 3 days without it. 3 days in daycare land. Seems like eternity when you have 10 kids all by yourself. And yes, don't question it. That's what the state let me. I had 10 kids all by myself. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday for many years. But this picture is still one of my favorite. In fact, I got it out because I'm going to hang it here in the bunkhouse where I do the podcast, because that's consequences. That's it. That's a good story of consequences. You don't have to hurt a child to show them. And taking something away from your child, like a favorite baby doll, because they didn't do it, or if you left a favorite animal or a blanket that they need at night at daycare and they were old enough to take it and they forgot to bring it, not going and getting it, it's going to be a rough night, but it's a learning lesson. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had many of parents go, "Can I come get it?" And I never say no. I never said no, because you're the parent. And if it's not a good night to stay up with your kid upset, that's okay. My house was always open to come get that blanket or stuffed animal left. But sometimes parents would go, "They're just going to have to learn." And that's okay too. You're the parent. And when you're the parent, you decide what your child needs. So yes, this picture is a glorious picture. I'm going to put it on the Facebooker and Instagram, and that's the favorite baby doll. Her name, and this is funny because this is long before my Isabel that turned 8 started 3rd grade today. She's getting so big. Anyways, long before, that's Dimitri from last episode. That's his little sister. It was long before her, because I remember this baby's name was Isabella. Not Isabel, but Isabella. I think my Elena Grace named it Isabella. And Elena Grace is a mama now to 2 beautiful kids. Yeah, I helped raise that. I wasn't a mama, but I helped raise it. Her mama's pretty cool too. Sarah. Yes. Some of my best friends are from daycare. They are. Okay, guys, live your lives. Keep your heads out of your butt. Let parents be parents. Always watch for abuse, because, I'm a big one on don't be abusing your child. Just teach them, and a whooping's okay if that's what you want, but don't beat them. And remember, always, when you see that kid throwing a fit, just remember to say, "Thank God you're not my child." Until next week.